When we finished the scene, and as I was walking off, Dean Martin came on and said to the audience, "You see, now there's an actor."
Ernest Borgnine's career in Hollywood spoke volumes about his commitment to his craft and an enduring spirit that kept him going despite the challenges. Throughout his career, he worked alongside some of the biggest names in the industry, building relationships that helped refine his craft. However, there was this one colleague that Borgnine never got along with, and they basically had bad blood between them till Borgnine's death. This friction showed a more personal side of Hollywood that we rarely see on screen. Join us as we tell you the story behind it all. Ernest Borgnine, born Ernest Borgnine on January 24, 1917 in Hamden, Connecticut, was the son of Italian immigrant parents Anna Boselli and Camillo Borgnine. Camillo worked, and Anna looked after the house, and they immigrated to America together with the hope of greater opportunities. Their struggle was shared by many immigrant families in the early 20th century. Things weren't going well financially, and they continued to move in search of stability and employment. Such a life meant that young Ernest had to continuously adjust to new surroundings. The Italian heritage of the Borgnine family played an important role in Ernest's upbringing. They maintained very close relationships with their roots, and Ernest was raised around Italian food, culture, and morals. His parents' relationship suffered, however, and they split up when Ernest was just 2 years old. His mother took him and his younger sister Evelyn to Italy for a few years, where they resided in her family's residence. This Italian experience immersed Ernest in a new way of life and further cemented his Italian heritage. The family eventually returned to the United States, where his parents reconciled and settled in New Haven, Connecticut. Ernest was an energetic child but didn't do well academically. He was a student at James Hillhouse High School, and upon graduation in 1935, he wasn't sure which career to follow. As was true with most young men of his day, he was more concerned with being able to earn a consistent paycheck to support himself and his family. Acting was the last thing on his mind at this point. He was more concerned with more practical work that earned him a living. After high school, Borgnine worked a string of jobs just to get by. He worked in factories and even drove trucks. The job was tough and often brutal, but they instilled in him the importance of working hard and being persistent. It was also a period in which he learned discipline and a strong work ethic that would last his lifetime. Despite the difficulties, Borgnine was always an optimist and struggled to create an improved existence for himself. Sadly, World War II altered Borgnine's life. In 1935, when he was 18 years old, he signed up with the United States Navy as one of the waves of young men that enlisted out of a sense of duty. He served on the destroyer USS Lamberton and then on the submarine chaser USS Sylph. During the decade in the Navy, Borgnine gained tremendous life experience and strong patriotism. He was honorably discharged in 1945 with the rank of gunner's mate, first class. Discipline, comradeship, and leadership that he learned during his military service remained a part of his nature for the rest of his life. When Borgnine returned to civilian life after leaving the Navy, he was again at a loss as to what to do next. He had initially considered a career in the trucking industry, as he had driven trucks before the war. However, his mother, ever the source of encouragement and support, encouraged him to consider something else. She recognized his natural wit and sense of humor and encouraged him to find another career path. Despite initial reservations, Borgnine eventually chose to become an actor. He attended the Randall School of Drama in Hartford, Connecticut, and started learning the trade seriously. This was a turning point in his life, from serving in the military to a career on stage. Borgnine faced criticism from people who thought acting a silly profession for a man of his background, but he was determined to do it, spurred by curiosity and the need to make ends meet. Borgnine's early life before he became an actor and his career as an actor was marked by a series of adjustments and challenges. From his family's financial struggles as Italian immigrants to his own challenges as a sailor, he acquired the resourcefulness and resilience that would be the hallmark of his life and career. His career transition from blue-collar jobs to acting on stage was not an easy one, yet it was eased by lessons learned along the way from his family and the armed forces, and by having the courage to take a leap of faith into new circumstances and opportunities. Overall, Ernest Borgnine's formative years were truly the ultimate testament to perseverance and determination. He grew up with an immigrant family and lived a life that lacked stability, but they all shaped his character. Being in the Navy also gave him respect for duty and obedience, and what he learned during those years taught him the necessity of labor. Though he wasn't interested in going for the arts at first, his initial experiences provided a starting point to effectively adapt to the workings of the industry. Ernest Borgnine's story about his foray into acting wasn't typical. His mother had suggested that he try a career in acting, but Borgnine wasn't totally sure about how that would work out. Nevertheless, the idea stuck in his mind, and he did to explore the possibilities. In 1947, Borgnine enrolled himself at the Randall School of Drama in Hartford, Connecticut, when he was 30 years old. This was a departure from the norm in his life, as he exchanged 10 years of military career and routine for the freewheeling life of performing arts. Borgnine committed himself to the craft with the very same laser-sharp focus and dedication that characterized his youth. He put in long hours, studying the basics of the business and sharpening himself on stage. Borgnine's early professional life as an actor was in the theater. He became a member of the Barter Theater at Abingdon, Virginia after training, which was America's most professional theater at that time. It contributed to Borgnine's career by exposing him to in-house training and bringing out his confidence as an actor. He played comic parts and settled down later to become a dedicated professional actor devoted to his profession. His work at the Barter Theater was so fine that it caught the attention of executives and was the beginning of his success. Borgnine's first big success came when he was selected for the stage production of Harvey, Mary Chase's hugely successful play. His title performance as Elwood P. Dowd established him as an actor, with his performance delighting audiences and critics across the globe. His roles in regional theater were consistent, with Borgnine adding to the ranks with roles in such outstanding dramas as The Glass Menagerie and A Streetcar Named Desire. His stage presence and his ability to fully immerse himself in the roles he played set him apart from other actors of his time. Borgnine's transition from stage to screen began in the early 1950s when he began receiving some small screen and film roles. Television during this period was still in its infancy, but it was rapidly developing into a mass entertainment medium. Borgnine's initial television appearance was in 1951 on the series Stars Over Hollywood. Borgnine appeared in small cameo roles in other early television shows such as Captain Video and His Video Rangers, and the Philco Television Playhouse. Though he had no starring roles yet, his works did bring Borgnine some notice and recognition as a working actor in the industry. His first big success was in 1953 as the lead in the movie From Here to Eternity. Directed by Fred Zinnemann, the movie was a box office and critical success and was awarded 8 Academy Awards, including Best Picture. Borgnine had the part of Sergeant Judson, a dirty, sadistic soldier, and thus proved that he could do multi-dimensional and morally complex roles. His performance was packed with suspense, and this was the beginning of Borgnine's success. For Borgnine, his success in From Here to Eternity flung wide open the doors of Hollywood, and he became a very successful actor. Some of Borgnine's most renowned performances were in 1955 when he performed in the movie Marty. It was directed by Delbert Mann, and it is the tale of a middle-aged, isolated butcher who is loved and accepted. Borgnine's performance as Marty Paletti was so moving and so well-liked. He won the Best Actor award in the Academy Awards for the film and was declared the best actor in Hollywood theater. The role as Marty was the peak of Borgnine's career and is always referred to as his greatest solo screen role. Borgnine continued acting during the 1950s and 1960s in wildly different roles in film and television. He was also featured in World War movies like The Dirty Dozen, with a small role as General Worden, and Sam Peckinpah's The Wild Bunch. He also appeared in westerns such as Bad Day at Black Rock and The Flight of the Phoenix. Borgnine's ability to bring his characters to life with substance had producers and audiences alike gushing all over him. Borgnine also made history with his works on television. Borgnine acted as Lieutenant Commander Quentin McHale on the wildly popular 1962 to 1966 sitcom McHale's Navy. It was another overnight success and established Borgnine as a good actor. He was well suited for television, with his charm and timing appealing to audiences, and he worked steadily in television throughout his active career. Borgnine was a dedicated artist and took up physically demanding roles. He never used stuntmen and performed all of his own stunts, which was a rarity for his time. By doing so, he often put himself at risk. During the filming of The Flight of the Phoenix, he faced a near-fatal situation. He was called upon to film one of the parts that involved a helicopter. During one of the shots, when the helicopter crashed, the helicopter got out of control and was headed for Borgnine, who narrowly escaped. It was a reminder of the dangers in filmmaking, but also a reflection on how professional and courageous Borgnine is. Ernest Borgnine worked for over 6 decades in his career and left an indelible mark on show business. He appeared in more than 200 movies and television programs and gained the reputation of being one of the most engaged and versatile actors in Hollywood. That he was able to transition from genre to genre without skipping a beat elevated him beyond everything else. Borgnine's performance was genuine and expressive, and he possessed the ability to speak directly to the audience. Not only was Borgnine a phenomenal actor, but he was also one of the most compassionate and charitable people. He was a firm believer in giving back to society, and was deeply involved with all types of causes throughout his life. He was a popular actor and a Hollywood superstar and legend. Ernest. Borgnine's life in show business was filled with a multitude of awards and recognitions, an Academy Award, a Golden Globe, and an Emmy, to name but a few. Borgnine was awarded the Screen Actors Guild Life Achievement Award in 2011, an award for his long service to television and cinema. Borgnine died on July 8, 2012, at the age of 95, but left the world his iconic roles in the hearts of millions. He is a legend for his talent, perseverance, and success in making his dream come true. Ernest Borgnine's career was distinguished by his willingness to work with some of Hollywood's largest stars, usually under difficult conditions. His calm professionalism and friendly demeanor enabled him to ride out turbulent scenes and coexist with other co-stars, even when situations get intense. Of all the actors he worked with, Shelley Winters and Spencer Tracy were 2 of the actors he had some heated encounters with on set. Borgnine's approach to working with these actors enabled them to pull through despite their differences. Shelley Winters was a demanding method actor and dominant personality. She was a force to be reckoned with on set. She was a demanding and challenging person who often clashed with directors and co-stars over the way a character should be played. Borgnine worked with Winters on many films, including the 1959 The Poseidon Adventure. Due to her perfectionism and need to always express herself, Winters was a challenging person to work with, but Borgnine's sense of humor and patience made it easy for them to work together. He respected her for her dedication to work, and he realized that her persistence was a sign of a desire to deliver an outstanding performance. Rather than fighting with her face-to-face, Borgnine took their common goal of creating a good film seriously. His calmness in the face of Winters' brutality kept them working together peacefully, and they treated each other well. Equally, Borgnine's professional experience working with Spencer Tracy for the movie Bad Day at Black Rock in 1955 was challenging, but they maintained a level ground because of Borgnine's professionalism. Tracy was renowned for her straightforward acting and refusal to do a lot of takes. When, during one of the fight scenes in Bad Day at Black Rock, Borgnine's character and Tracy's character were fighting in the middle of the shoot, when Borgnine hit Tracy harder than he had intended. Instead of anger, Tracy simply shrugged it off and continued with the act. Borgnine, with his cheeks burning with embarrassment, apologized immediately, and Tracy, as professional as she was herself, brushed it aside. This could have been a tense situation between the two stars, but Tracy's tact and Borgnine's humility changed everything. Borgnine later spoke highly of Tracy, referring to her as a mentor and praising her for being able to keep her feet on the ground and not become flustered when under pressure. Although Borgnine was successful in getting along with Winters and Tracy, his experience making the 1954 film Johnny Guitar left its imprint on him, and not in a pleasant way. Directed by Nicholas Ray, the film starred Joan Crawford and Mercedes McCambridge, two divas whose off-screen feud was a Hollywood lore. Borgnine, cast in the film in a supporting role, witnessed firsthand Crawford's feud with McCambridge. Crawford, who was herself rumored to have been a diva personality and a Hollywood icon in her own right, went out of her way, allegedly, to make life difficult for McCambridge, with whom she had reportedly threatened. The two women had some kind of competition simmering, and their arguments caused the shooting to be halted, with heavy modifications following. Borgnine was particularly irritated with Crawford's behavior, which he compared to pettiness and lack of professionalism. He recalled some of the times when Crawford deliberately intruded into McCambridge's scenes. Both women's ill will created a poisonous on-set atmosphere, and Borgnine could not keep himself detached. He grew to appreciate a lot of McCambridge, whom he believed had acted with grace and dignity, but grew to despise Crawford more and more every day. Borgnine's experience with Johnny Guitar left him with a lifetime of contempt for Joan Crawford, and he enjoyed speaking openly about how much he detested her for the rest of his life. The movie itself became a classic, but for Borgnine, it was a recollection of Hollywood's ugly side. Off-camera, away from acting, Borgnine's life, too, was marked by a series of marriages and infidelities. He married 5 times, and with each marriage came a new adventure in his life. His first was to Rhoda Kemmons, whom he married in 1949. They had just one daughter, Nancy, before divorcing in 1958. Borgnine's second marriage, in 1959 to actress Katie Girardo, also proved short-lived, with the marriage ending in divorce after 4 years. However, his third marriage in 1964 to singer Ethel Merman didn't survive for the whole year. The union was famously volatile, and Borgnine later referred to it as one of the biggest errors he had ever committed. Borgnine's fourth marriage to Donna Rancourt in 1965 was longer-lasting than his first 3. The couple had 2 children, Christopher and Sharon, before divorcing in 1972. While earlier marriages had been a challenge, Borgnine was determined to introduce something more permanent into his life this time. Borgnine married businesswoman and beauty products mogul Tova Trace-Nais in 1973. It was his most productive and longest marriage. Borgnine and Tova were still married when he passed away in 2012, and their marriage was characterized by respect, love, and respect for each other. Tova would accompany Borgnine to premieres and events, and the two were usually described as inseparable. Borgnine's marriage to Tova was a period of peace and happiness in his life. He often attributed her with keeping him grounded and on track, even though his career continued unabated. The two of them lived a life sturdy enough for the challenges they faced. Borgnine openly professed his love for Tova in interviews, and he often referred to her as the love of his life. Throughout his whole life and career, Ernest Borgnine demonstrated remarkable resilience in surviving and prospering. From dealing with the challenges of working with difficult co-stars to falling in love after many failed marriages, he attacked everything with energy and determination. His professionalism and integrity were evident in his work on movies like Johnny Guitar and Bad Day at Black Rock. Not only is Borgnine's legacy evident in what he left behind on the screen, but also in the way he lived, through a life filled with humor, humility, and an unbreakable faith in the goodness of love and resilience. If enjoyed the video, give us a thumbs up, and we will see you in the next one.